everybody, it's Kristin and I have a brush review for you guys. So as many of you know, particularly those of you that watch my lives, you know that for well over a month I have been testing the Jaclyn Hill brush set from Morphe. So she picked her favorite brushes. She didn't like curate the brushes, but I guess you would say she curated the kit. I don't know. But anyway, so I have been trying those and I want to give you guys my opinions on them. I'm going to just kind of briefly show you the brushes. I'll talk about maybe a few things that I have used the brushes for. Some of them I haven't used, but I still have an opinion on the kit as a whole. So let's talk about that. So the first thing that the kit comes with is one of my favorite things. I think it was 2017 that this was one of my favorite like tools for the year. I love this brush case. It's genius for travel, and you guys know that I do a lot of that. It opens up flat and will sit. It's one of the best things I have ever purchased. So this one that I'm showing you here is the one that I purchased singly by itself. You can buy just this brush case for $20. By the way, before we even get into this, I am not a Morphe affiliate. They have no idea who I am. Jaclyn Hill certainly has no idea who I am. These are just my opinions. I purchased the kit with my own money. And also I want to say the kit sells for $155. There are 23 brushes and this brush case. This brush case by itself sells for $20. It was out of stock for a really long time, but I think it's back, you know, plenty of stock now. So I don't have a code or anything for you guys because again, I'm not an affiliate, but there are tons of people with codes out there. I'm sure that I used Jaclyn Hill's, which is JACATTACK. So I'll list hers below if you want to use that, whatever your little heart desires. So it's $155, and then if you use the code, I think you get 10% off or something like that. I can't honestly remember what the discount is. Anyway, so this case is mine because I have the one that came with this set away for a giveaway. I intended to do that giveaway before Christmas. That didn't happen. It's still coming, I promise. So hopefully it'll be really good when it comes. All right, so we are going to just go ahead and jump into the brushes. I'm going to split these up into sort of face brushes and eye brushes. So there are 8 what I would call face brushes. We're going to talk first about the bronzer brush. It's probably a powder brush. It's the Morphe E41. This thing is ginormous. I'll compare it to the Tom Ford. It's a different shape. Obviously, I do prefer this shape, but this does work. The kind of bronzing that I do isn't, I'm not trying to get into a very specific place. I'm just trying to, you know, add some dimension back into my face that putting foundation on takes out. And this works really well for this. This is the softest brush in the kit. I really like this brush. It's just one of those ones that you want to pet. I really like it. It works well. I've washed these brushes, by the way, 3 times. They all have washed up very well. You do need to use a brush guard for certain on a couple of them, and I'll talk about those as we get to them. But so this one was a winner. All right, the next one is the Morphe R2, and I used this one for powder foundation because I always put a powder foundation over my regular foundation, and it worked really well for that. It also would work well for bronzer or a kind of precise contour if you wanted to. I also find that it works well with the Hourglass dim light to kind of, you know, put that all over your face. This one is, again, it's R2 if I didn't say that. And it has this copper thing. I kind of complained about, I was like, you know, I wish they all would have the same, you know, ferrules so they all looked the same. But then somebody pointed out to me that her favorites were from different parts of their line, and that's why they look different. So it made a little more sense to me. Drives me a little bit crazy still, but it made a little more sense to me. All right, so this is the M439, and this is a dense brush that works really well for foundation. If you like this sort of brush for foundation application, this works really well. I have no issues with this. Again, it cleans up well. You can see that I was able to, I always use the Benjabel brush shampoo, and I was able to get all of the product out of this. It's held up very well. I'm really happy with this. I like it. Even though it's kind of chunky, it feels good in the hand and just really applies well. So that one was a winner. Okay, a couple of these most of these I have washed back up, and a couple of them I've used, you know, again since then. So I counted wrong. There are 9 face brushes. My apologies. So this is the M530, and this is the one you can tell if you don't have this in a brush guard, it will start to look kind of, you know what I mean, like kind of weirdly like that. But I have to tell you, I have never used a blush brush or a brush like this for blush, and that's what I ended up using this for. And I really liked it, especially after I was a couple of days in. I don't wash a blush brush every time in between. I will go a week usually before I wash it, and I just, you know, wipe it off on a towel before I go into my next blush color. And I really liked this. I like it a lot, actually. Big fan of it. There's some nice kind of give to it. So I feel like it works well for both pigmented and non-pigmented. I used it for my MAC in Dimension blushes and it worked well for that. So I liked this, but again, this is one, I think I showed on the live that if you're not careful, it's gonna splay all over the place. It still works well, it just doesn't look as pretty. So there's that. This is the MR10. And I didn't use this one quite as much. I will tell you, I feel like this would be good for a cream contour sort of product. You could certainly use it for blush, but it's pretty dense. So you could, this would be one of the ones where I would maybe apply, you know, like on the side and then turn it and blend it like that. So I just didn't use this one a ton. I don't have any issues with it, but I don't have a lot more experience with it than that. All right. Next is the M437, and I would say this is closest to like a MAC 109. This works really well for contour. It works well when sometimes I use my Hourglass Dim Light as like a blender, kind of between shade, like between blush, between contour, between bronzer, to kind of, you know, dissipate lines that I might have. This worked really well for that. So again, here's one thing I'll say, like overall, I'll probably wrap this up again at the end, but there are a lot of multitasking brushes in this kit, or brushes that, you know, there is more brushes than you need in this kit. There's one brush in particular I feel like is missing from this kit, but there are definitely more brushes than you need, but it's a great value. So anyway, all right, this is I'll come back to that, is the M510. And this, I think, is what she uses for highlight, and it does work really well for highlight. I also find if you want to do a really light, sort of just a hint of a contour, it works well for that. It's very nice. It's a different brush. I don't have anything really exactly like this brush, and so I do like it for highlight. So today, for instance, I used it. I'll show you again. This is the Becca Vanilla Quartz highlight. Oh, it's so pretty. I love this highlight, but it's gonna give you a more concentrated application than, say, like this brush would. This is the blush brush. You could use it for that. You know, you could use it for highlight as well. Dropping brushes around. So it gives you a more concentrated application and more of a kind of a bam highlight. See how that brightened it up quite a bit more? Let's just tone that down a little, shall we? So anyway, I love this, by the way. I like that brush. Like I said, if you really want to have a concentrated highlight where it's really strong, this is a great brush for that. And it makes sense that she uses for that because that's her preference in highlighter. All right, this brush I didn't like at all. It's the M438. So it's like the My Goss, let me look, 02 brush. It's that sort of little mini egg shape, but it's just too, there's not enough give to it. And I don't know, I just didn't like how it blended. So this for me was a fail in the kit. So we won't spend much more time on that. This is the E8. And I was like, what am I gonna do with this brush? So I started using it for concealer and continued to. I never used it for anything but concealer under my eyes, and I loved it for that. It also worked really well with the Bye Bye Redness, which I kind of think of almost as a concealer. Really, really liked this brush a whole lot. I really liked it. It works really well for concealer. I just really like how it blended. I didn't have to, frequently when I put on my concealer, I'll blend with like sorry, I was filming. That's not a bruise, that is me swatching on my hand. The e.l.f. Got Flawless Concealer Brush, you guys know I like this, but frequently because of this brush, there's just something about it. I'll go back in with whatever I use for foundation and just kind of tap out the line between my concealer and foundation, and I don't really have to do it with that one, so I really like that. So that is it for the face brushes. Let's move on to the eye brushes, and there are 14 eye brushes. So I'm gonna set these down right here. There are 6 white brushes, so I need to break these up somehow in order for them to make sense in my head. So again, I will say this. There's a ton of blending brushes in here. You don't need all of these. To get them all for the one price, I think is great, but you certainly don't need all of these brushes. So I apologize, this was the one I used the other day. I really have enjoyed it. This is the M433. It is the closest thing to the 217 from MAC that I love so much that I've ever found. It works really well, it blends. I find it to be a tad scratchy, and I would say that is true across the board of the brushes. I mean, they're not Wayne Goss brushes, right? They're just a little scratchy, and I don't love that so much, but that is one of the blending brushes. There is one, this is another one of the copper ferrules, and it's R37, yeah, right there. You can see it's a little more tapered. Then there's one that's a little more tapered yet, that is M573. So this is kind of one of those ones where, you know, the smaller it is around and the more it comes to a taper, the more, like the darker the color for me. So like a real big fluffy with a little bit of a taper I'll use for transition. Then my next darker shade with another one, and does that make sense? Anyway, then there's the M441 and the M513. You can see for all intents and purposes, these all function very similarly. There's nothing really all that different about them. You can see this one is a little bit more pointed. This is a little bit more rounded. You know, there's just I kind of wish there would have been some other, there are a lot of brushes in here though, so I don't know what else they would have stuck in here, quite frankly. And then this is the M518. This is probably closest to like a MAC 222, just not quite as rounded, or I'm sorry, excuse me, a MAC 224, which is usually a black bristled brush. So this is a good, you know, just kind of blend things out in your crease, not a super precise application. So those are, sorry, I did drop this one, but those are the 6 brushes that have the white bristles. So this is also a blending brush that's in there. This is the M504. This one is very soft, I have to say. So I have to take back what I said about all the brushes. This particular one is very soft. And again, this works well for a blown out sort of crease. It's yet another crease brush. There's really a lot of crease brushes in here, but it does kind of the brushes lend themselves to the way Jaclyn applies makeup. So it makes sense that she would pick those. This is the brush I didn't use at all. I know what she uses this for, but I didn't use this. This is the E47. She uses, and we look in my mirror here, she'll put powder right here with this brush to help keep her line and then brush it away. I certainly have done that before with other brushes, and I think this would be great. I just didn't do it. And I didn't want to delay this anymore by, you know, making sure that I tried it and it worked, because I have seen her do it several times. So I believe that it will work. But I also think it would be good. Let me just grab my Blanc Type. When I want to clean up that edge, I think that would be another way to kind of put a little Blanc Type on here and kind of go right where you want. If you want more of a stark line, and just wipe white. See how that kind of made a stark line? I'm gonna blend it out so it's not so stark. And then I have some on the other side, because I like to match. So I think it's a very unique brush, and I will enjoy using it more. I just haven't up until now. So I just want to say that is the one that I did not, until right now, really try. I just never ran into an opportunity where I wanted to use it. So, all right. There are 3 brushes that are a little bit larger than a pencil brush. And I have to tell you, this one in particular, the 506, I've used this almost every single day for I've been doing a lot of smoky eyes lately. I'm just in the mood for a smoky eye. So when I do the lighter shade beneath my eye, I've been using this brush for that. It has very nice give to it for a smaller brush, and really just blends out color lovely. This one I don't like quite as much. This is the E17. You can use this for placing color in your crease, so if you want to get it very precise, but you're going to have to switch to something else to blend it out, because it just doesn't have really, it's good for placement, but there's just not, it's very dense. And then this one is a little bit shorter, and this is the E18, so it's a little bit shorter, you can see, than the E17. And again, it works well. Right, if I'm going to just put something right at my lash line, it works well for blending that out. It's going to be, again, it's going to be smoky, but for me it would be if I'm only using one color beneath there and not doing kind of a gradient sort of thing because of the way it blends. And then last, oh yeah, that is all 3 of them. So those are the 3 that kind of look, I call it like a bullet brush, sort of a thing. So then lastly are these 3 kind of detail brushes. This is a push liner brush. It's the E432. Very nice, works like any push liner brush, but I have very much enjoyed it, and I actually think it's Jaclyn Hill's technique of doing a lighter shade here, so like say soft brown or something like that, and then going in at my lash line with a real dark, I have to look, with a real dark shade, and right at my lash line, right where that whatever liner I've put on my lower waterline comes to meet the edge of my waterline. Does that make sense? Anyway, right there. I really like this. It works like any push liner brush, but I like it for that application. And this one is a pencil brush. It's the E436, works nice. There's not a ton of give to it, but it's great if you're just gonna do one shade kind of very quickly to meet up with out here. Great. You could certainly place color with it again, but you wouldn't be able to blend, but I like that. And lastly is this E213. So this could be used for a multitude of things. You could use this for right up under your brow bone, placing color. You can use it for inner corner. What I have enjoyed using it for actually is as a lip brush. I like this size and shape. Like if I'm trying to apply a red shade or something that has a little more deepness to it, I like this sort of brush for that. But again, it worked well for inner corner, upper brow bone as well. And you certainly could use it for your lower lash line. I think I might have done that actually once on a live. So those are the brushes. The brush that this kit is missing is a lid brush. You guys know my favorite lid brush is the MAC 239. They've discontinued that brush. I don't know if Morphe in their particular line has one exactly like this. I've never used a lay down or a lid brush from any company that comes anywhere near the MAC 239. I don't know why. I mean, I do know why, because they wanted to go all synthetic, but I love this brush. This is the only type of brush that this kit is missing, in my opinion. There's no, you could certainly apply a lid shade, with a brush like this or whatever, but there's nothing in here to pack on a lid shade. So I feel like that's the only thing the kit is missing. So having said that, I have been working on putting together like a go bag, or like things that I can just grab and leave in my suitcase with as much as I travel, that I don't have to repack every single time. This kit, and I'm gonna stick a MAC 239 in there, is going to be my travel brush kit. There are enough brushes in here for me to do absolutely everything that I want. I wouldn't be missing anything, aside from the lid brush, because I threw it, but I won't because I threw it in there. And I could do any eye look with these brushes, anything on my face, anything. So I feel like when you break down the cost, all right, I just wanted to do some math. So I took that $155 and I took out $20 for the case, because I feel like that case is well worth the $20 it costs. So if you take $135 divided by 23, it's $5.87 a brush. And I feel like that is very reasonable for these brushes, even though there are some, I would pay $10 or $15 for some of these brushes. So, and I would pay a lot more probably for this brush. So even though some of the brushes I don't use and I don't like, I still feel like overall the kit is worth the money. So if you are looking to spend that sort of money on a brush kit, I feel like it's well worth it. You'll see in my favorites that I feel like the Wayne Goss brushes are really worth the money. But if you are just kind of getting into things and you want to have some brushes to play with, and you don't, like, you would spend the same amount of money-ish on the eye kit from Wayne Goss as you would on this whole kit with, face brushes and all kinds of other brushes in it. So if you don't have a vast array of brushes, or you need something for travel like I do, I feel like it's a great kit for you. 100%, I feel like it's worth the money. Again, Morphe has no idea who I am. Jaclyn Hill has no idea who I am. I get nothing for this. This is just, you guys were interested and I wanted to do this for you. So if you have any questions, go ahead and please leave them below. I will leave the link. It's not an affiliate link by any means. I'll leave the link below. It'll say bit.ly because I use that to shorten the link for my description box. But I will leave that so you can go and take a look at the kit yourself and see that sort of thing. When I looked this morning, it was $155, and I'm quite certain that if there's somebody's code out there, Jaclyn Hill's, Patrick Starr's, any of the big people that have codes, go ahead and use that. But I really like it. I think you guys would like it, and I think it's a very fair value. Good money. So, good money, good value for a little, you know what I mean. All right, so that is everything. I'm not going to go over everything on my face. I'll leave it below, but I will just say the majority of my actually it was kind of a combination of the Urban Decay Troublemaker palette and the MAC Warm Neutrals palette is what is on my eyes. And Hourglass I Want with the Jouer Skinny Dip over the top was on my lips. And that's it. So I think that is everything. So I think this is actually my first video that's coming up that's going live in 2018. So happy New Year to you guys. I wish you all the best in 2018. I'm looking forward to it. I'm certain it's going to be an amazing year. So thank you guys so much for watching, and in everything that you do, be beautiful. Bye.